Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain a 2023 adventure film titled Plane. Heads up, spoilers ahead, you've been warned. The movie begins with Brad Torrance, a pilot, walking through the airport while talking to his daughter on a video call. She reminds him that New Year is almost here and asks him to come home fast. Brad smiles and promises her he will finish his flight and make it back in time. His daughter gets excited and ends the call feeling happy. Next, Brad heads to the cockpit and meets his co-pilot, Samuel. Samuel brings up the weather, saying it might get rough later. Brad just shrugs and says they will handle whatever comes their way. As they are settling in, a crew member calls Brad outside. That is when a cop pulls him aside and says there's an emergency transfer on the flight. Apparently, a dangerous criminal named Louis Gasper has to be moved quietly. Brad is not thrilled, but he knows he cannot say no. Soon, Louis is brought in handcuffed with an officer by his side. Both get seated in the last row, far away from everyone else. Great. Just what Brad needed for a smooth flight. All passengers board the plane and settle into their seats. Brad confirms with the crew that everyone is on board, and the plane takes off. Once they reach cruising altitude, Brad puts the plane on autopilot and chats with his co-pilot about their families. Brad shows pictures of his daughter on his phone and tells Samuel how much he loves her. For him, they only have each other in this world. The passengers are enjoying their flight peacefully. No one suspects the trouble that is about to come. Both pilots are relaxed as the plane flies smoothly. Suddenly, the weather takes a turn for the worse, and turbulence hits. Brad feels uneasy about what is happening. Over the intercom, he tells all passengers to fasten their seatbelts. He tries to contact the control tower via radio, but he cannot get through. The bad weather is messing with all the radio systems. Without warning, a massive lightning bolt strikes the plane. The aircraft shakes violently from the impact. Brad rushes to check on the passengers. He feels relieved to see everyone is safe, though the lights flicker on and off. Another lightning strike hits the plane, causing Brad to hit his head on the ceiling and injure his forehead. Then, Brad hurries back to the cockpit and works with his co-pilot to control the plane. It is an extremely difficult situation. The radio is dead, and their screens show nothing. Brad decides they need to bring the plane down immediately. Another lightning strike could destroy the aircraft completely. They begin descending rapidly. The passengers are scared out of their minds. The police officer escorting Louis drops his phone while sending a text. He quickly unbuckles and tries to grab it. Seeing this, a flight attendant unbuckles too and reaches to help. But as the plane drops sharply, both are thrown upward and slam hard into the ceiling. The impact is so violent that they die instantly. Seatbelts exist for a reason. Meanwhile, the plane starts dropping even faster. Brad struggles with the controls while his co-pilot helps him steady the aircraft. After a tough moment, they finally manage to pull it back under control. A crew member rushes to Brad and says the passengers are in bad shape. Brad tells her to calm everyone down and get them seated because they might be landing hard. He tells her to prepare everyone for the impact. Looking at their location, they realize they are passing over an island. With no other choice left, Brad decides to bring the plane down there. He scans the area and spots a clear stretch of road. Carefully, he guides the plane down and makes an emergency landing. Even though the situation was rough, the plane touches the ground safely. Brad and his co-pilot take a breath of relief. Then Brad notices electrical sparks coming from the back and quickly orders everyone to evacuate to keep the passengers safe. One problem solved. About 50 more to go. Back at the airline company headquarters, the owner suddenly notices the plane has disappeared from tracking. They cannot make contact through any channel. On the island, a crew member approaches Brad with some bad news. The officer who was escorting Louis did not make it. Brad feels terrible hearing this, but tells her to focus on keeping the other passengers calm right now. Brad gathers the confused passengers and explains they had to land because of the storm. He assures them the plane still has some power left and they will use it to fix the communication systems. He asks everyone to stay calm because they have enough food, water, and shelter. He promises they will get off this island very soon. Meanwhile, the airline owner meets with a rescue expert named Scarsdale, who specializes in finding people in trouble. The owner asks him to find out everything about the missing plane. He needs to know where it went, information about the crew, and all passenger details. Brad goes back to inspect the plane. The batteries are almost drained, and the radio needs more juice to work. Samuel pulls out a map and checks where exactly they are. His expression changes to serious concern. He tells Brad this is a private island controlled by a dangerous militia group. These guys operate outside any government control, and if they find the passengers, everyone is in serious danger. Brad understands they need to contact the rescue team as soon as possible. That is their only way out of this mess. He gathers all the passengers again and tells them the radio is still not working due to technical issues. People start panicking immediately. Brad tries to calm them down and says he has a plan. He will go across the island to find a working communication device and call for help. Then he makes a risky call. He says Louis is coming with him. Everyone looks shocked as Brad removes the handcuffs from Louis, and they head into the jungle together. As they move through the jungle, Louis thanks Brad for trusting him. He mentions he has military training. Brad explains he freed Louis because keeping him handcuffed would put everyone at risk. They have to work together to face whatever threats are on this island. Louis talks for a while but then suddenly goes silent. Brad turns around and realizes Louis is gone. He used the chance to escape into the jungle. Fantastic. On the other side of the island, a man comes running to the militia leader with information. He reports about the plane that made an emergency landing. The leader pays him for the valuable tip. He tells his crew to gear up because they are about to make some easy money. Brad walks deeper into the jungle and reaches an old empty building. Inside, he sees many bullet shells on the floor and holes in the walls. Clearly, something violent went down here. Then he spots an old telephone hanging on the wall. Brad fixes the broken wires and gets the phone working. He calls the airline company helpline and tries to explain what happened and where they are. But the person on the line thinks it is a prank call and asks for his badge number. Customer service at its finest. Brad does not have it with him. The call drops because of the weak signal, as if even the phone is tired. Thinking fast, Brad calls his daughter. He tells her to write down everything he says, including their location and the name of the island. He asks her to take this information directly to his office right away. But while he is still talking, someone suddenly hits him from behind with a metal rod. Brad reacts quickly, grabs the attacker, and fights him off. After a short struggle, he manages to knock him out. Brad hears movement and hides. But it is Louis carrying weapons he took from militia members. Louis calls out, saying it is safe to come out. When Brad steps forward, Louis hands him a loaded gun. Maybe this guy is not as scary as he looks. They head downstairs and find a room with a camera and scattered passports. Brad checks the footage. The videos show how the militia operates. They kidnap anyone who ends up on the island and demand huge ransom money. Even worse, they kill the hostages after getting paid. Brad realizes their passengers are walking into a death trap. Outside, they find a vehicle that belonged to one of the militiamen. They jump in and drive fast toward the plane, hoping they are not too late. At the crash site, passengers wait nervously. Soon, they hear vehicles approaching. Many think rescue has finally come, but the excitement dies instantly. Armed militia members arrive, firing shots into the air and surrounding everyone. Brad and Louis hear the gunfire from a distance. A militia member demands to know where the captain is. Samuel nervously says Brad went to get help but has not returned. Brad and Louis reach the site but stay hidden in the trees. A woman tries to run, but the militia shoots her on the spot. Her husband screams and rushes forward, but they kill him too. These guys do not believe in warning shots. Brad tries to move in, but Louis pulls him back forcefully. The militia forces the passengers onto a large bus. Their leader leaves 2 men behind to raid the plane for valuables and drives off with the hostages toward their base camp. After they leave, Brad confronts Louis for stopping him. Louis explains there were too many armed men. They would both have died. Now, at least, they have a real chance to save everyone. They quietly approach the plane and ambush the 2 looters. Brad aims his weapon and demands to know where the passengers were taken. One of them reveals the location: an old warehouse about 2 miles east. That is the militia headquarters. Back at airline headquarters, Brad's daughter delivers his message. Scarsdale uses satellite imaging and pinpoints the exact island. He discovers this militia group is extremely dangerous. Even the Philippine government does not go to that island. He immediately calls a private military contractor, and they start loading weapons and tactical gear into their vehicles. On the island, Brad notices something positive for once. Samuel managed to get the plane's power system working again. Brad tears off a piece of his uniform and writes directions to the militia warehouse, leaving it inside the cockpit for any rescue team that arrives. Then he and Louis head toward the warehouse. Moving carefully through the jungle, they reach a village and spot the warehouse from a distance. Inside the warehouse, the militia members are filming the passengers, making ransom videos to send to their families. Meanwhile, the rescue team lands near the plane and finds it empty. Their leader steps inside and discovers 2 bodies. Then he spots Brad's message with the directions to the village. Back at the village, Brad and Louis move forward and reach a room where all the passengers are locked up. They watch the militia from the shadows. Louis picks up a hammer and quietly knocks out 2 guards standing outside. Brad takes the keys from one of them, unlocks the door, and frees everyone. He tells them to stay completely silent and head straight to the bus outside. All the passengers rush to the vehicle. Louis tells Brad there is a major problem. The exit road is guarded by many armed men. They cannot just drive out. Brad looks at the frightened passengers and makes a hard choice. He tells Louis he will distract the militia while they drive to safety. Louis refuses right away and calls it suicide. But Brad insists there is no other option. After a tense silence, Louis agrees, knowing Brad is right. Brad walks out and faces the militia leader. He tells them rescue teams are already coming, so they should let everyone go. The militia members laugh at him. Their leader mocks Brad and orders his men to shoot. He says nobody leaves unless they pay him first. Just as the man points his gun to kill Brad, gunfire suddenly bursts from all directions. The rescue team begins their assault. Several militiamen fall instantly. The team reaches Brad, pulls him up, and gets him to the bus. The militia leader watches his brother die in the chaos, along with many of his men. He is consumed with rage. He screams orders at his remaining fighters. He says they will chase these people down and wipe them out. Some people go to therapy for anger issues. This guy just collects more bullets instead. Inside the moving bus, the rescue team leader explains they are only a small private group sent to help. The official government teams are still far away. Brad looks worried until an idea hits him. He says he can fly everyone out if they can reach the plane. They reach the crash site where Louis brought all the passengers. Brad announces the situation. They can take off right now and escape. Everyone needs to board immediately, because waiting for the official rescue means certain death when the militia returns. Everyone boards fast. Brad prepares the aircraft while the soldiers take positions outside. Minutes later, the militia returns in full force. Heavy gunfire breaks out from both sides. The rescue team fights hard and brings down multiple attackers. Brad shouts they will be ready for takeoff in 5 minutes. He also takes a moment to thank Louis for everything he did. Then Brad sprints through the gunfire but gets shot in the leg and climbs into the cockpit. With Samuel, he starts the engine sequence. Louis runs out of ammo while giving cover fire. He checks the team's bags for more bullets and finds one stuffed with cash. He stares at it for a second, then grabs ammunition and returns to the fight. Brad turns the plane toward the rough runway. The soldiers board one by one as Louis covers them. The radio crackles, and the airline owner gives Brad coordinates for a safe airport nearby. Everyone is aboard except Louis. He suddenly grabs the cash bag and bolts into the jungle. Going back means life in prison for him. So he is not doing that. At that moment, a militia member grabs a rocket launcher, ready to blow the plane apart in a single shot. But Louis spots him just in time and takes him down. Then the militia leader picks up the rocket launcher and aims at the plane. Brad pushes the plane to full throttle and drives straight into him, killing him instantly. The plane lifts off successfully. Louis is happy for the passengers and Brad. He takes the money bag and disappears into the jungle. Brad flies the plane away from the island. The airline headquarters guides him to the nearest safe airport. But suddenly, one of the plane's engines catches fire and starts failing. Using every bit of skill he has, Brad lines up with a runway and brings them down hard but safely. Brad and Samuel sit exhausted but relieved. Back at the airline headquarters, the owner and his team celebrate. Brad checks on the passengers and finds everyone shaken but alive. They stand and applaud his incredible bravery. The official rescue team arrives minutes later. Finally, Brad sits on the stairs and calls his daughter. He kept his promise. He will be home for the new year after all. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.